Flash flooding takes over the Quad Cities, and it's affected some key streets in the area.
And John Deere Classic Week is officially underway, but will Mother Nature get in the way?
WHBF is local for you. This is Local 4 News this morning.
Good morning and thanks for watching Local 4 News this morning. I'm Chris Langlois.
And I'm Emily Scarlett, and we're joined by meteorologist Anthony Peoples. Anthony, lots of areas seeing lots of rain overnight. So how are conditions as folks are waking up this morning?
Well, you know, many people spent last evening and overnight working in their basements, flooding once again, and we saw all the streets and intersections that were flooded across the area, and we'll be seeing some more of that coming up here shortly. We had a lot of rain to fall. Even though we were expecting some flash flooding across the area as that front moved through, it still doesn't make it any easier when you see those waters come up so quickly. How much rain did we pick up? In Conesville and Long Grove in Iowa, 5 to 5.5 inches of rain. Erie and Whiteside County, about 4.5 inches. We're getting some reports in around Scott County and Davenport of close to 5 inches, but officially at the municipal airport in Davenport, 3.8 inches, and Moline at Quad City International, 3.2. So that's a lot of rain that we're going to have to work through the system today. So it may take some time for the waters to recede on some area roads and streets.
And with all that water coming in such a short time, the Quad Cities definitely seeing some flash flooding.
And that causing some problems on area roadways. Police tell Local 4 News they've taken several calls from stranded drivers after flash floodwaters took over QC streets. In Coal Valley along Route 150, high water levels around Coal Creek left some stranded. Now, we don't know how many at this time, but authorities tell us they were rescued just after midnight. Police say no one was hurt, but areas near Route 150 are still closed off this morning. And in the Quad Cities, roads are still affected from the water as well. Local 4's Alice Kang joins us live in Davenport, where streets are still closed off from yesterday's flooding. Alice?
Good morning, Chris and Emily. Now, I talked to Davenport police earlier this morning. They say there was a lot of areas that were affected by last night's rainfall. Now, one area that we are checking up on is right here on 32nd Street and Farnham Avenue. You can see 2 cars are underwater here. Now, I talked to Davenport city workers today, and they say they believe that these drivers were trying to get through the waters and were not able to make it. So they say the people were safe, but that's exactly what Davenport police are saying. Make sure you do avoid areas like this one. Streets are blocked off in many areas, so make sure that if you are driving, never drive into standing flood water. Even if you think your car can make it, police say just keep it safe and just drive away from that area. And another area that police are saying that drivers should look out for is Eastern Avenue and 29th Street. They say that's a main concern because Eastern Avenue is such a busy street. Again, police are reminding drivers this morning, never drive through flooded waters this morning. Make sure you keep an eye out on that during your morning drive. Reporting live in Davenport, Alice King, Local 4 News this morning.
Thanks, Alice. Calling all kids. Today is day 2 of John Deere Classic Week, and while the actual event doesn't start until Thursday, today is Youth Day, and you can get into TPC Deer Run for free and get some golf tips from the pros while you're there. This morning at 9, the Family Zone will open for all ages. That's located right behind the tee box on hole 7, and the first 750 kids will receive free lunch and a Whitey's voucher, a John Deere hat, and a bobblehead. Starting at 2, there's a free youth clinic at the TPC Deer Run driving range. That's where you can get some tips from some of those pros. These events are free to the public.
And course managers at the John Deere Classic a little weary of the weather this week.
Working around Mother Nature, she's been dropping a little rain on us, which impacts how and when we can do certain practices. That's just a different challenge. If it wasn't raining, it'd probably be hot and dry and we'd be dragging hoses, so we're used to it.
PGA rules officials will work with the groundskeepers to keep the grounds as firm as possible. It's ultimately about keeping the putting surface consistent for each hole, and they'll do what they can to keep this week's events on schedule.
And while TPC Deer Run is doing everything to get ready for the John Deere Classic, here are some tips to keep in mind before you head out to the course. Arriving early is key. There's a park and ride shuttle service from the Isle Casino Hotel Bettendorf, Quad Cities Downs, Walmart in Silvis, and VIP parking at Rock Island County Fairgrounds. There'll be security checkpoints at the parking lots and the main gates. And remember, you can't bring in backpacks or posters. Everything you bring has to be in a clear gallon-sized plastic bag, a clear purse, or a bag smaller than 6 by 6 inches.
We offer clear 12-inch by 12-inch Ziploc bags at the parking lots and the main gate location.
Cell phones are allowed on the course, but they must be on silent or vibrate. For more information on security and parking, head to ourquadcities.com.
Democratic frontrunner Hillary Clinton is back in Iowa today. She'll be stopping at the Iowa City Public Library. Clinton will then head to a house party in Ottumwa to meet with caucus goers. The latest Quinnipiac poll shows Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders is closing the gap on Clinton's Iowa lead.
People near Thompson are noticing an economic upswing all since the opening of the Thompson prison, something they've been waiting on for 15 years. Prison managers have already hired several people who live in the community, and more people will have the chance to apply today. The prison is holding a job fair for correctional officers from noon until 6. And even though the prison isn't completely staffed and running, Thompson is already seeing business improve.
The restaurants are seeing a big change. The gas stations are getting a lot of business. And as I mentioned, we're seeing a lot more traffic in and out of town. Folks who are trying to pull out onto 84 around shift change have seen a lot more traffic, and they're thinking, oh my gosh, we're going to need a traffic light here in Thompson pretty soon.
Anyone going to the job fair today shouldn't expect to hear anything back right away. It can take around 8 weeks to hire a correctional officer. Thompson prison officials tell Local 4 News they expect to have 300 people on staff, and that number should grow over time.
Local 4 News is learning more about an inmate who escaped from a Fort Madison prison only to be caught in Henry County, Illinois. But authorities say 25-year-old Justin Kessner pulled off a difficult prison break.
What he did is he had like 67 feet of bed sheets that he used as kind of a rope, which is an unbelievable amount, and that he also crawled through a very narrow area that's supposed to be too small for a person to crawl through.
Kessner was spotted in a cornfield in Geneseo. A state trooper noticed a car along Route 82. Investigators believe he stole that vehicle to get away. He can now face up to 5 additional years in prison on top of his original 10-year sentence.
A high-profile murder suspect wants his trial moved to another city. Nicholas Shealy was supposed to make his first appearance on murder charges in Missouri yesterday, but his arraignment never happened because the judge removed himself from the case at Shealy's request. He's being prosecuted in Jefferson County, Missouri for the deaths of 2 people in 2008. They're going after the death penalty. He's already serving 6 life sentences in Illinois for killing 6 people 7 years ago.
2 people are dead and another is seriously injured after the driver of a pickup truck lost control and flipped over. It happened on eastbound Interstate 80 near the Northwest Boulevard exit just after 2 yesterday morning. Police say the Dodge truck with 3 adult males crossed into the center median and flipped. 30-year-old Marcos Wheeler, who was driving, and 29-year-old Mario Obregon were both ejected and pronounced dead at the scene. The other passenger was transported to Iowa City, where he remains in critical condition. Police are investigating the crash, but say they believe speed and alcohol may have played a factor.
A busy and dangerous intersection will be closed starting today. Construction work at US 6 and Illinois Route 84 in Henry County begins this morning. Turning lanes and traffic signals will be added to the intersection to provide an easier and safer flow between traffic. The intersection is scheduled to reopen in October. So that's some good news there whenever they take a second look at intersections. I know you're on John Deere Road a lot by that 74 overpass, and what they did there, getting rid of that traffic light, seems to make traffic a lot smoother there.
Yeah, I enjoy it. Like you said, we lost a traffic light there, so I've noticed the difference in how quickly we can move through that area. I'm not complaining.
Yeah, always cool when they can take a second look there. But streets, definitely the story of the morning here, looking at flooded roads. Let's check in with meteorologist Anthony Peoples. After a lot of that flash flooding last night, definitely a concern this morning.
It's definitely a concern this morning, and even if you're not in an area that is flooded, the visibilities is a big concern this morning too.
Yeah, you're actually seeing that right behind you now. That will be a problem for drivers this morning.
That's right. We do have some fog and smoke out there early this morning, and as we go through the day today, even with the winds picking up a little bit and the sun coming out, we're still going to be feeling some of the effects of those wildfires out across Alaska and Washington. You may actually even smell some of the smoke later on today. Our current temperature is 63 degrees, north winds at 6 miles per hour. Visibility's down to around 1 to 3 miles across eastern Iowa and northern Illinois. And our rain pushing off to the south and east still. The showers pushing out of Stark and Knox County as we speak. And you see the darker shade here. That's the fog that we see across the Mississippi and Illinois River valleys right now, and the clear skies pushing into Iowa as we speak. So as we get rid of the fog and the clouds and the smoke this morning, later today skies will be partly to mostly sunny. High temperature about 74 degrees. It will be a little on the breezy side today too. So that's nice. You know, it's going to feel more like maybe a very, very early spring day out there today with temperatures about 12 degrees cooler than average.
All right, well, we've been talking about it. I won't complain. I think even later in the show, we'll see that we've got some warmer temperatures on the way, so I don't mind a little break in hot weather.
Yeah, you know, some of you may actually even call our weekend forecast hot. So, you know, my windows are already open now that the rain has moved out, so I'm ready to enjoy the cooler temperatures.
All right, thanks, Anthony.
Coming up, the QC Kick Jazz Orchestra is kicking off their rehearsal jam sessions today.
Plus, these events are free to the public. Our live guest has more up next.
The time now is 6:11. You're watching Local 4 News this morning.
WHBF is local for you with Chris Langlois, Emily Scarlett, and meteorologist Anthony Peoples. This is Local 4 News this morning in high definition.